What's up, guys? My name is Jerry, and today's video is going to be on the Boston Celtics. And we're going to be talking about how we cannot forget about this team, and we're going to jump right into the video. And looking at the Boston Celtics so far this season, they have a record of 33-25, and that's good enough to have them at 6th in the Eastern Conference. And not only that, the Boston Celtics are currently on an 8-game winning streak. So this is a team that's been playing some really good basketball recently. And one thing that the Boston Celtics have excelled at, or two things I should say they excelled at all season long, is playing defense. They rank second in the league when it comes to defensive rating, and that's outstanding. And then they rank second in the league when it comes to rebounding. So this team really plays great defense, and they really crash the board, and that's really what's kept them afloat all season long when they were going through their struggles. And we know how this team got off to a very rocky start, and it kind of led everybody to write them off and kind of push the Boston Celtics to the side. And we all know, I believe it was very early in the season when Marcus Smart, he was frustrated, and I think he went about this the wrong way when he went to the media saying that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, he handled that the wrong way by saying they basically need to come off the peel and pass the ball more. And I feel like that right there, that opened up for the media to have a field day on the Boston Celtics, and that I think that kind of catered to their team chemistry and their team struggle. So early on in the season, we seen these guys struggle, and they couldn't get it right on the court. And then a little bit later down the road in the season, I feel like that hatchet got buried when Jaylen Brown, he came out to the media and said that he can make, he doesn't need to be traded from the Boston Celtics, and him and Jason Tatum can, they can make it work. And I agree with him 100%, especially when you got two wings that can play on both sides of the court, and as good as they are offensively, you got to keep those two guys together. So ever since Jaylen Brown has came out and said that, this has been like a completely different Boston Celtics team. And the one thing that you realize the most from this team of how they turned their season around is you just see more of an all-around effort from everybody on the team, from guys like Robert Williams, guys like Marcus Smart. They're playing harder, and then Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they have been making the one more pass. Well, you've seen the whole Boston Celtics team, nobody's trying to play hero ball as much no more. Jason Tatum is, he's starting to stop taking those, crazy off the dribble shots. Even though he can hit those shots, he tends to fall in love with that sometimes. But this is a team that's starting to play more team basketball, and they're starting to trust each other more. And I'm pretty sure it took a lot longer than necessary for those guys to get that under control, as far as coming together and playing as a team. And I'm pretty sure the reason was the reason that Marcus Smart went about it. And Marcus Smart, he's an emotional player, so sometimes he let his emotions get the best of him. And I think it would have been better if something like that was said in the locker room. But anyways, it seemed like the Boston Celtics, it seemed like they have moved past that. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they've been playing really good basketball of late. Over the last 15, 16 games, Jason Tatum is averaging 26 points and Jaylen Brown is averaging 24 points. And the thing that I like about these two guys, if Jaylen Brown doesn't get 30 points, Jason Tatum is getting 30 points. And if Jason Tatum doesn't get 30 points, Jaylen Brown is getting 30 points. So it's very rare that we see an off night from one of these guys. And it's really good to see them figure this out, because these are two guys that was drafted by the same team, and they've seen each other grow up, and they've been through some really good, some really crazy tough battles with each other. When they were young puppies facing LeBron James in that Eastern Conference Finals, taking them all the way to 7 games. These guys are brothers, and they've shown that they can have success in the playoffs before. So I don't see no reason to break these two guys up, and they're showing that out on the court. And not only that, the Boston Celtics have found their very own depth lineup. They have a group of 5 players that's the best 5 players on the court in the NBA. So this group of Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams, my favorite Celtic, the Time Lord. Love his game, love the energy he play with. But when those 5 guys are on the court, and this is for a group that's played, the NBA only tallies groups that played 100 or more minutes together. This group has played, 225 plus minutes together on the court. And when they're out there, they have an offensive rating of 116, and then they have a defensive rating of 90. And I just want to explain to you guys, how crazy that is. Like, that's such great defense. And then they have a net rating of 26. So when those 5 guys are out on the floor, not only are they excelling on the offensive side of the ball, but they're also excelling on the defensive side of the ball. And when you look at that lineup, it's like, who do we attack? Who do we attack in that lineup? As far as, the opposing team offense goes, like, do we attack Jason Tatum, who's 6'7", 6'8", long arms? Do we attack Jaylen Brown, who's 6'6", 6'7", with long arms? Do we attack the feisty Marcus Smart? Do we go after Robert Williams, who's probably one of the best shot blockers in the league? And then we got Al Horford, who back in his heyday was one of the best defensive centers in the league. And, it's like pick your poison. There's nobody to really go at that, on that Celtics starting 5. And, so, that's that. And then on the offensive side of the ball, we all know what they are. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown can really, both are legit 3-level scorers. Al Horford, he can space the floor sometimes. If he's cooking one night, he can hit his jump shot, hit his threes, still got post moves. And then Robert Williams, the lob threat he is, and the finisher around the basket. And then Marcus Smart, another very smart basketball player, know how to put himself in the right spots. And, he just knows how to cut. He knows when to flare open for the 3-point shot. And, they just get a lot of easy buckets when they play with each other. And the one problem that the Boston Celtics, that's kind of like, that's been a nagging pain in their back all season long, has come to their, their depth, their bench. We haven't really seen no consistency from them all season long, but at the trade deadline, they went and made some pretty good moves. In my opinion, they've added Daniel Tice and Derek White. And Derek White is a very, very underrated pickup. I know he makes a lot of money, but he's going to come in and provide exactly what the Boston Celtics need. And he's going to be a natural fit for this team because Derek White is a guy that, he plays good defense. He can score the basketball and he can play make. So, it's going to be really good for the Boston Celtics to have him commanding, their second unit. And this was a guy that was seen by the San Antonio Spurs as a cornerstone for their franchise, but they were running out of patience with him, and they just decided to move on from Derek White. And then they picked up Daniel Tice, a guy that's played with the Boston Celtics before, and he's another big that can stretch the floor, and he's athletic. He can catch lobs. He can do so much. On the basketball court and be effective. So, getting those 2 guys at the trade deadline, I feel like that's going to help the Boston Celtics out tremendously. So, this team has been rolling, playing really good basketball of late. They've climbed from like the 10th, 11th seed in the Eastern Conference, and now they're all the way at the 6th seed, and they're only like 4 games out of the 1st seed. So we can see, anything can happen after the All-Star break, and the Boston Celtics are, they're catching fire, and this is a team that, we cannot sleep on. We talk about the Brooklyn Nets, we talk about the Philadelphia 76ers, we talk about the Heat, we talk about the 76ers, but we can't forget about, this team right here because, they have the talent, to make a deep playoff run. It's all about them getting it right with each other on the court and getting it right. It's all about them getting it right with each other on the court and pinning it together. So that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, comment down below. Comment down below if you like that Derek White trade. If you think he's making too much money. And then also subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man. And that's curtains.